That's why I told you he likes when I say dumb shit because I know he's listening. And I'm like, when I look at this now, I'm like looking at it. I'm like, why would you want to hear dumb shit like this? Ah. Okay. I put here, guide me to make choices that align with my values and bring honor to you, right? Because I'm like, I don't ever want to be blasphemous towards God because up until this point, he has been very good to me, okay? Even though he's annoying as fuck, he's been good to me. Like, he told me a story, he spent my birthday with me, he fixed my throat, he let me stay here and had me baptized. Like, that was really fucked. Um, he sent me this, right? There's so many things where I could tell you. I had that whole story with Trev. Like, there's so many things I could bring up, and I'm like, he's done more for me that I can't even think of right now. And they always say God leaves Easter eggs, right? So I feel like if time travel was a thing, I'd go back and see where he's fucking with me, you know what I mean? Because I told you, he never leaves me he left me this. Like, what is this? You know, this pen selectively writes too. When I'm writing, I'm like, sometimes the ink doesn't come out at all. Certain things I can and cannot write. It's interesting. Okay, next thing I wrote was, give me the strength to face things with grace and dignity. I'm like, I know we shouldn't be doing things on our own, but I'm like, there's certain situations where I'm like, I feel too weak. If you're not gonna come give me a hand, can you at least pour it into me a little bit and help me? I also looked up what Yahweh means and Christ means. Yahweh means I am or saves or salvation. Christ means anointed one or the Messiah. I was like, God. They also say that God never says no. He says yes, not yet, or I have something better. And I was like, okay. When you look at it from that point of view, you're like, okay, God's taking care of it. You know what I mean? He doesn't forsake anybody unless you guys are blasphemous towards him. And he never makes you feel less than. You know what I mean? Like, I'll be next to somebody and be like, you're too childish, right? For example. Versus, like, when Shoe's near me, he never once said that to me, right? And then he told me that childish story because he's trying to tell me in a way not to scare me, right? And I tell you guys too, when you have dreams and you see things that scare you, it's harder for the spirits to come uh, and interact with you guys when you're scared, because the goal is not to be scared, it's to just have a conversation. But you guys have to discern whether they're good or bad, right? You'll know, right? Your gut feeling will tell you if that person is good or bad for you. You know what I mean? Or if you don't know that at all, start praying at that point. Tell Shu, it's like, yo, Shu, there's this being came out of nowhere to come upset my peace. Let me know if I should be interacting with them or not, right? Because some people can't discern angels from demons. That might not be a good example, but you know what I mean? It's like, imagine if I had chased away Flowers or Basket when I first met them, right? It's like, they're like, to me, they're family. It'd be weird to push them away. Okay. Continue on with the prayer logic, okay? These don't sound like prayers, right? They're just requests. I'm like, I don't know how else to pray. I'm like, yo, send rice, you know? Right? If you're looking at, like, okay, when I ask him to send rice, he'll send it like that. If you ask the devil to send rice, he's gonna send rice with a man on the side. I'm like, oh God, I ain't need that. You know, that's problems on top of problems. Rice is probably poison too. Okay, I put anything in my life that needs improving on, right? Because I'm like, I don't know, I don't think I'm lacking. uh, anything the enemy has against me, right? I'm like, okay, if the enemy's got anything they can hold against me, you know, clock it and then help me clear that shit. I'm like, I don't need that. I told you, the more somebody knows, the more they can use it against you. That's what I don't like. That's why I keep hush-hush about everything. That's why I'm mad that I can't go see Paris now, because I don't know who energetically interfered there, because I'm like, now I feel so many obstacles there that I can't make it now. Okay, next thing. Show me and remove anything or anyone that wishes ill on me, right? Why would you keep someone near you that's bad for you? You know what I mean? This one I put specifically for me. I put place me somewhere I can thrive rather than wither, because when I was back because some people are gonna look at it like when I left, they're like, oh, she's ungrateful or whatever. But I'm like, when your blessings start looking like curses, right? Then like it's time to up and leave, right? Like people are gonna be like, oh, Lisa's so blessed. She's got a mom and dad, brothers. She doesn't have to pay rent, that kind of thing. But I'm like, okay, when you look at it from my perspective, it's like I have to do everything they want. I have no time. Like I have to drop what I'm doing for them. They're fucking god awful to me behind closed doors. That type of thing. When you balance it out, right? Everybody that's looking on the outside looking in is always gonna have that idiot perspective, right? Unless you're experiencing it for yourself, you're not gonna understand. So when my blessings start looking like curses is when I decide to up and leave. And now my peace has been restored to me, and I'm like, okay, now I feel like things are good here, right? I left, things are getting worse and worse for them, but things are getting better for me. So I know I did the right thing for me. And people are gonna be like, well, she's selfish. And I'm like, no. If you look at it from like, if you're in a plane, right? They always tell you put your oxygen mask on before taking care of anybody else. Why? Because if you are fucked, you can't look after anybody else. So same logic applies here. If I feel fucked, how's that energy not gonna fucking um pass on like a disease to the next person, right? Like if I feel like shit, that energy's gonna translate to the next person, which is what I try to avoid. That's why I tell you guys I don't come to vlog when I feel awful, because then you guys pick up on that, right? It's the same thing. So I'm like, okay, I know people don't change. So they're still they have all their demons to deal with. They're still behaving like idiots. And I'm like, I'm more at peace than I was than when I was there. You know what I mean? Even though I have a different set of problems now, I'm like, I'm still doing better than them. I'm still better off. So following that train of thought, I put surround me with the right people, because now I'm in the correct environment, but now I'm alone, right? So I'm like, where my spirit fam at? You know what I mean? I'm like, shoot, where are the people I'm supposed to be connecting with? Why am I always alone? Like, what the fuck? Like, I know I'm not at a low life level. Why am I still stuck here? So then next thing I wrote was yesterday, I put, if it's meant for me, make it obvious, right? I'm like, okay, prove it to me. So I never have to question. If I have to question it, I'm like, then I know it's not from God, right? So I'm like, make it obvious that it's for me, and if it's not meant for me, remove it, right? Make sure I can let it go, because if I can't, look how easy it was for me to up and leave. I'm like, okay, I let go of everything to me, right? Like I let go of my books, my albums, everything that was familiar to me, I let go of, right? Because I know when you let go of things, they come back to you tenfold, right? Like I know that for a fact. I'm like, okay, I let go of all the trash, right? So now there's room for all the good stuff to come in, right? It's like when you're gardening, it's like you get rid of all the weeds so that all the proper plants can grow properly, right? So that's how I deal with things. So then adding on to that, I put whatever's divinely mine will only result in peace, right? And if I don't feel peace and clarity, I'm like, it's not from God. I don't fucking want it. And then following that train of thought, I cut cords with anybody wishing ill on me, right? Which I told you, I'm like, as soon as I left, you know how many people called me a fucking whore? I'm like, I cut cords with all those fucking people. Fuck all of them. I don't care if they're friends, family, whatever. All them shitty people, I'm not the one judging. It's like going to court. It's like this, and this happened. I'm telling my side of the story. It's like, okay, God's the judge. He knows both sides, right? I don't have to understand the other person or why the fuck they're projecting or whatever. I'm just like, yo, God, this is what happened on my end. You deal with it after, right? I don't want any part of it anymore. And that's it for this gray book. I feel like when I talk to the inhuman beings, it's not going to be any males, but I feel like the females are going to help me out because I can sense there's other writing in this book. It's not my handwriting in here, somebody else's writing, and I feel like the whole middle part is filled. So I'm like excited, but I'm also nervous because I'm like, now I have to rely on you guys, but I'm like, I don't know how it's going to work, but I just know that you guys are going to give me the information and this is going to be with me. I don't even know if the lizard people can write. Like, to me, like, that throws my brain off. It's the same thing, like, they can use phones. right? Like I sound ignorant right now, but I'm like, I really don't know. It's just fun. Like I'm waiting for that point in my life where I'm like, okay. I bring that up because I did hold that. I remember holding that thing in my hands, right? I was like, if anything triggers them to talk, it's gonna be that. But no, everybody stayed quiet. I'm like, why? You guys know I like to talk. Except for when it's like before something happens, and you know I gotta keep quiet. I was like, fuck, I talked too soon. Okay, that's everything for that book, right? So going back to the book I picked up at the Lutheran church. This is all devotionals, right? So I'm gonna go through this now. I've written it like this. I'm like, I am not like, how's this gonna make sense? Okay, we're gonna start off with the stuff with me, right? So I'm like, all this stuff in pink is all the stuff that relates to me. Because as I'm reading this, I was like, I'm getting triggered and like, I don't know how to explain it. I'm like, I feel annoyed, but I'm like, I feel peace at the same time. It's annoying. Okay, page 25. Okay, this is what pertains to me, right? Because I'm reading this and I'm like, okay, there's stuff that relates to me, stuff that I have questions about biblically, then all the stuff that we deal with now, and then stuff that the inhuman beings might be interested in. That's what I'm gonna go through now. So I'm on page 25, right? It says where we're from. So it talks about identity, right? And it says where we're from or where we live helps define our identity, right? So going back to that point now where I'm like, this relates to me because I'm like, I'm starting back from scratch. No one's gonna judge me because there's no past history here, right? They're all gonna judge me for the person I am now. And I just thought this really struck me because I'm like, it says where we're from or where we live helps define our identity, and I feel like I'm gonna keep moving from place to place that I can never really set my roots. So I'm like, I'm always gonna feel out of place. So this came up. Then page 5. Blessings of welcome. So it talks about radical welcoming. So it says Jesus tells the disciples what to do if they're not welcomed by a homeowner or by a community. He tells them to shake the dust off their feet and to move on to the next town. That's how I felt. I felt like if I came here and I didn't feel a part of this community, I would have left and found another place, right? But I didn't know that until I started reading this. And I'm like, I'm reading this and I'm like, everything I've done up until this point is starting to click, right? But I've been doing it without knowing you know what I mean? It's like how I've been dodging all the demonic shit without knowing it because naturally I wouldn't move in that direction. Okay, page 50. Sorry, my eyes hurt still, so I'm like, I'm gonna... My friend's going blind like her mom now, so I hope she's okay. Okay, this one says, cut off from everything familiar, the only thing remaining of his home life was his God. That's where I feel like I'm at now. I'm like, okay, I cut off everything and all, and he's been visiting me here so often. I was like, this resonated so well. I'm like, why did I read this now? Ah. Okay, page 36. Right? This story here, it talks about how like this lady doesn't want to go home, right? So I relate to this really strongly because it feels like coming home to a prison, right? So that's why I marked down that page. It says home is supposed to be a place of comfort, security, and family. It's not supposed to be filled with overwhelming demands, grief, and isolation. If you feel that, that's not home. Okay, then on page 4, it reminded me of my mom. This story, it talks about how like this lady okay, so this dude in his late 30s, he was walking to his car when he suffered a fatal heart attack, right? His mother went to go see him, right? Because I guess she's the emergency contact. Uh, she rushes him to the hospital. She's praying to God. Um, why did God do this? Why did she take my son? Why did he take my son from me? Right? So I'm like, this story, because the guy dies, right? He dies from a heart attack, and the mother, she prays all the time. She's like, what the fuck? This story reminds me of my mom because I feel like in her position when I left, she's probably asking why God, right? Because I told her to pray. I feel like she's probably telling God, she's like, why the fuck did my daughter do this, this, and this? I feel like she would be doing that, but I'm like, when you're the problem, right? Like the bad guy never sees himself as the bad guy, right? Like this, that what when I read that story, I'm like, it just made me think of that. Uh okay. Since we're talking about parents now, they always say picking a favorite, right? There's a point in the story about this. So if I go to page 43, they talk about Joseph's story, right? Where his siblings are jealous that the father favors one child over the others. The jealousy and hatred drives them to extremes, right? And we all, if you guys read the story, you see what they did to Joseph, right? I marked down this one because I'm like, me and my, I told you guys this when we were at my grandfather's funeral, how like, I told you my mom's embarrassed to see me all the time. Um, but the people at the funeral, because it's the only time family gathers, they're like, wow, for siblings, you guys are really close, right? Because all these people, they're older than us and they're fighting like idiots, right? They're fighting over land and shit. And we're like, I'm looking at my brothers and I'm like, we would never fucking fight over anything. Like, I know my parents have favorites. Like, I know I'm not a favorite, but I'm like, the fact that parents do that, you know they're a shitty parent. People like that don't deserve to be parents. People that don't tend to the child's needs, people who use their kids, and people who don't know anything about their kids, all those types of people aren't worthy of being parents. They all deserve to go to hell. But I'm not the one to judge, right? That's up to God to judge. Okay. So then that leads to page 6. where it says there's a point when the child must guide the parent, right? They tell you not to lead your child to wrath. Okay. Then from there, we're going to go to page 69, which is all on conflict management, right? Because I told you Shu does things methodically, right? So it's like you have to use Jesus's process of conflict management, right? First, you address the individual privately. If it's not resolved, you involve a few peers from the group. No resolution involve the organization's governing body. If the person has committed a grievous enough offense, they're removed from the organization, right? And you keep going along with this procedure. I highlighted this one because it says the lady that wrote this, she said, I like to complain to everyone instead of quietly going to the person who wronged me. I gather people to be outraged and angry. Right? You want people on your side to be right. This is a very demonic thing. You want people to be tell you you're right when you're clearly in the wrong. You know what I mean? Right? In my head, people are gonna be like, "Oh, Lisa, that's your mom. Or your mom's always right." I'm like, "Is she God? Like, what the fuck?" Clearly, she's not in the right, in the wrong. She's not in the right here. You know what I mean? Okay, then we're leading to church polity on page 70, which ties back into the messed up map I drew, right? A collection of individuals who come together for Sunday worship and go off and live as they wish the rest of the week leads to church polity. Right, which means if the majority rules in a way that displeases you, the resolution is to head for the door to find. Why can't I read? If the majority rules in a way that displeases you, the resolution is to head for the door to another church, or worse yet, dropping out altogether, right? This is one of those like turn-offs from going to church. It's like, oh, if you don't agree with what they're saying, go find another church, right? That's why I went to these 3 different ones to go and see what we're dealing with here. I always hated that viewpoint. I'm like, okay, it's like the person leading the church can't be wrong, right? And I'm like, you're not God. What do you mean you can't be wrong? What the fuck is this? This is what I don't like too. People they're not gracious when they're wrong, or like when they're at fault. You know what I mean? Like they don't, I don't know how to explain this. It's like you did something wrong, but you don't apologize for it right away. You kind of do everything before you have to get to that point. And then my roommate just woke up. She's kind of sick. Anyways, this is going back to the thought of like, if everyone's jumping off the bridge, would you jump off the bridge too? And I'm like, if jumping off the bridge is wrong, but nobody believes it to be wrong, that's really fucking scary, right? So there's that. So those are all the stuff that like resonated with me, right, as I'm reading this. Okay, now we're gonna do the other stuff. All the stuff in yellow now. I never use yellow highlighter, but I used it here. Normally, I don't use highlighter unless it's for like schematics, right? Because you need that for your eyes. And I'm like, I really need to organize this. Okay, let's see. Okay, now we're gonna talk about stuff regarding Shu. Okay, so we're gonna do page 21. All this Bible talk is making me hungry. knows how much energy I put in to run in my mouth. Okay, this pastor, he compares trying to see God, like trying to find a rabbit camouflaged in the brush. Like, you know it's there, but you can't see it, right? Which I thought was a really good analogy here, because it says here, God is present even unseen, right? People are searching for him. They want, like, because that's what I told you guys. I'm like, you want something physical, right? That's what I'm telling you. If you right now, if you guys go and test it, make it really specific, and make sure you tell him to make it obvious, because there's in a way where you can't explain it other than it was God, right? He's gonna have fun with this. Since he's got to deal with so much bullshit. The first time he sent me rice, I was so happy, and then I got really mad because then he kept sending me ice cream. But then now I look at it and I'm like, the temperature's been rising, and I haven't had any temperature issues, right? And I'm like, that might have been his way, because it aligns, and I'm like, he's been helping me, so it's also because of him that I started reading too, because I started recording too, because I told you guys I was in class. All I heard was YouTube and I have to record, and I remember asking him, like, what am I supposed to be doing on here? He just told me to talk. And what am I doing? How many years later I'm still running my mouth? Some of you are going to be like, Lisa, why would you do that if you're not going to get anything out of it? But I'm like, I'm getting this conversation with you guys out of it, right? I'm here because of you guys. So if you come and ask me, it's like, Lisa, what's the point of doing these videos? I'm like, okay, if there's no point, there's no need for me to come back, right? And I can feel a whole bunch of you panic just now, right? Like, I can feel it. So watch what bullshit goes through your head, okay? Okay, so you guys gotta trust that he's there even though you can't see him. And it's a good thing you can't see him because he's terrifying. And he needs to update his wardrobe. He needs some fashion sense. You know what I hate too? Both Shu and Lucifer, they're both covered up head to toe, but you know they're mad jacked. And I was like, what the fuck? Okay, next page. Where are we? I gotta concentrate. Oh my god. I was a mad mental image. 46. Okay. Okay. They say the Lord is indescribable. We can never fully get it right, which I agree with. And this is Elijah talking here too, because he's like, his name means something, or like, Yahweh's my God, right? I looked at that and I was, that's mental, bro. Okay, let me see. So Elijah says this infinite reminder of the one who cannot be reduced or contained is humbling and reassuring. It's reassuring knowing that we never fully get it right. God always escapes being put in a container. You can't put him in a box. It's hard to describe him other than he's annoying as fuck. He's greater than the sum of our thoughts. Okay. Just thought I'd throw that out there because it's like, a lot of people are like, oh, he doesn't exist because we can't explain him like definitively, but that's the point. For sure I can tell you he's a dude. Because if he wasn't, I wouldn't feel uncomfortable, right? Like as soon as I know there's a guy there, you instantly feel uncomfortable. I miss Flowers. I hope he comes back soon. Okay, where are we going next? Okay, page 44. Self-made prisons. We pray we will be set free from the prisons we make for ourselves. Yet we know we cannot free ourselves, but rather rely upon Jesus, the one who liberates captives from sin. So because we're sinful by nature, going back to the 3-year-old and the mortgage, right? How do I relate this? Yeah, at 3 you can't do the mortgage, so you have to rely on the adult to do the mortgage, right? In my head, that's how it's clicking, right? I'm like, okay, I know I can't do this, but Shu can, so I'm like, let Shu deal with it. I don't know why people don't do that. They're like, oh, I can do this, or you know what I mean? Like they do take on everything themselves, and I'm like, why would you do that to yourself? Right? I feel like they do that with women nowadays. They have women cook, clean, all that shit, right? But I'm like, the woman's not supposed to do that, right? Like some, you know how some dudes, it's like they rely on their wife for everything. I'm like, okay, if God forbid something happens to your wife, you're completely fucked. Why did you make her do all that shit on her own? You know what I mean? So I like this passage because it's like, okay, there's problems in the world, let God handle it. Don't try and take it on yourself. I think I use that example of like your dog driving the car, right? It's like, why would you do that? Why would God allow that to happen? But he's like, okay, if you think you're so good at driving and you drive into you get into an accident, then God's like, okay, I'm gonna take over now. Because a lot of people get scared right afterwards. They're like, I don't ever want to drive again type situation. It's because you were too full of yourself, right? Okay. So rely on God more. That was that passage. I feel like this could pertain to me because I'm supposed to ask him for stupidness, and I'm like, I don't know what to ask him. I'm like, I don't need things. I need answers. I need answers to these problems. You know what I mean? Okay, page 58. So following that train of thought, if you leave God to handle the problems, there's this point where people say God takes sides, right? And clearly he doesn't. It says, because it says God's always with us when we're being under attack, right? And it said if he's on our side, wouldn't he be on the enemy's side too? Right? So that brings up this question here, which leads to page 24. Yeah, let's go page 24. Yeah, which leads to giving God's due. So it says he so give that person what's theirs and give God what's his. You know what I mean? It's like he doesn't take sides. He figures it out. He's the judge, right? So he's gonna come to the correct outcome. He doesn't pick sides. That's what I'm saying. From some people's perspective, it's like, oh, God didn't hear me, or he's ignoring me, or he said no. It's like he did that in your best interest. He didn't do that to like fuck you over, right? Then some people are just like, you know what? I'm gonna turn away from God. I'm like, them people dumb as fuck. That's why I tell you, like in my position, I'm like, everyone keeps telling me, Lisa, go in a leadership position. But I'm like, if the people beneath, if they fucked over Shu, right, when he was alive, what's stopping them from doing that to me now, right? Because I'm like, I don't act like I'm better than anybody. When I'm in shit, nobody helps me. Um, if I say something you don't agree with, people want to immediately want me removed and take me down, and then they realize, wait, she was the perfect one in that position. I was like, well, fuck you. Now you have to rely on yourselves. You know what I mean? That's the only reason why I don't take leadership positions. And when I read further into this and how they fucked him over, I'm like, I definitely don't want to take a leadership position if the people you have to take care of are so fucking stupid. I can't. Ah. Okay. Moving on. Page 33. It says, ask what I should give you. I thought this was interesting because it's true. It's like, okay, if God knows everything and what you would want and you don't know, you should probably ask him for it, right? But I'm like, I don't know what he would tell me. Like, this throws me off. Anybody have a story on this? A story on like what God should give you? Like, I want to hear this. If anybody's got any testimony, that would be interesting. Because I don't know what to ask him. It says, ask him what I should give you. I'm like, slap across the face? You know what I mean? What the hell does that mean? That was a really good cross section. I don't know if you guys can see it. Alright, so this is when you're praying. You ask what I should give you. And then following that train of thought, page 42. And after Jesus had dismissed the crowds, he went up the mountain by himself to pray. So then this is the question that comes into my head. I'm like, okay, are you supposed to pray alone or are you supposed to pray with people? Right? Because I'm like, what's the point of the church for? If you can pray at any point in time and the church is never open, should you be praying alone or with other people? Right? That's my question now, because I'm like, I don't understand this. And then while we're on the church, I'm like, church is really performative. So go to page 91. It talks about sake of appearance. Right? The people who believe they're good always end up in hell because they're dumb as fuck. It's like, but God, I did this and I donated to the charity and I did, just to save face. Like, them people always end up in hell. That's what this story talks about. It says donating the most money to a local church. You want the recognition. You don't want the good stuff to fall. You know what I mean? Like, that's why yeah, I think it's intent. That's why your intention is important. This is what they come up with in law, right? Because they're like, if you have the intent to do bad, you do bad. If you have the intent to do good, you do good. Here, they have the intent to look good and not do good. That's the difference here. I like that I can put this into words now because I always was against this shit back when I was younger, but I could never put it into words because no one ever talked to me about this. Okay. Okay, now we're going from performative to power and money now. So I'm going to page 47. I feel my headache go away. Maybe it's, I don't know, that every time I eat that, it always makes me feel good. Okay, page 47 says the world has reduced everything to power and money, which is a harsh way of living. That's why I tell you, the people in power are always abusing bullshit, and I'm like, them people all need a slap across the face. They need some like sense knocked into them, right? Because I'm like, okay, if you were in the other position now, right, the one you don't want, you'd realize how fucking terrible it is for everybody else. This is the other thing too. It's like when I come here, I gotta make sure everybody's okay, right? Like I can't be okay if everyone else, if the other person isn't okay. You know what I mean? Like I told you guys this. I'm like, when I'm miserable and upset, people are thriving, right? And to me, I'm like, what kind of demonic bullshit? I'm like, if I'm in pain, wouldn't you feel bad too? And I'm like, when you come across certain people, there's a lot of people that get off of like people being in pain. That's a really fucking sick thought. I'm like, ugh. I'm like, I can't function if you guys aren't okay. Right? Like to me, it's really hard to do. I don't know if that's because I freaking pick up on everything like a sponge or what in the fuck, but I'm like, when something feels off, I'm like, I feel off too. Like I don't know how to, like I don't know what to say there. So that the fact that there's people that like can get through their day feeling off, I'm like, that's fucked. Okay, following this train of thought, train wreck of thought. Page 81 talks about scraps. I saw this and I was like, what in the fuck? So here, this talks about this is Paul's story. So he's talking about how like people would attend meals and enjoy their fill of food, right? So it's like there was a lot of inequity being faced, inequality being faced at these huge feasts, right? That anyone who was slaves, widows, and children were left to receive the scraps at the end of the table, right? But just because their status is lower than the other people doesn't mean they deserve a lower quality of life. You know what I mean? It's like everybody needs food. Why the fuck would you feed scraps to fucking women and children? It's like, what the fuck's wrong with you? Especially slaves too. If slaves are doing all the fucking labor, I'm like, wouldn't you feed them more? Like, so this goes back to, if you're looking at modern day, it's like, okay, like there's no middle class now, right? There's like rich and there's poor. The rich don't want to help the poor, so the poor say to eat the rich, right? So it's like, fuck them, right? And you have this whole discourse now where people are angry because it's like, what the fuck? All you had to do, the earth is abundant. All you guys had to do was allocate the resources, but there's always someone fucking hoarding everything. Right? People don't care about people. They only care about themselves. And this talks about selfishness, right? It's like, oh, I'm gonna eat my eat until I feel full. I don't care if the other person starves. Right? I'm like that. Like if that doesn't irk you, like I don't know what to tell you. Okay, now we're going to page 37. This is all talking about leadership. Right? If someone is telling you, oh, like, you know, let the low lives eat last, I'm like, you're so fucking stupid. Page 37. So following off of Paul's train of thought, we move on to Moses' story, and it says, I will raise up for them a prophet. Page 23. Goes back to Paul where he says, be examples to others, put faith into action. And then page 26. You need to be willing to be vulnerable, sharing what you know, and be a guide for others, right? This is all around the topic of leadership, right? Right? Because I told you, people like to follow what the other person does. If you see someone treating someone like shit, you're gonna end up doing the same thing. That's what they say. Guilty by association, right? If you're associated with someone that does horrid shit, of course you're gonna be associated with doing said shit too, even if you've never done it. So like, let's talk about men because we love men. Not to bash them, but just to use as an example, right? You have a group of guy friends and you see your one friend beating his wife and child. By association, you do the same thing even if you've never done it because you're not doing anything to stop it, or you don't cut yourself off from that person, right? So that's what this is talking about now. That's why I told you, I'm like, I hate people. I'm like, have someone like that drag you down is so fucked. It doesn't matter how much history you have with them. If they're a fucking garbage human or like a garbage person in general, if they decide that